Hi, welcome to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/process to perform. Aman is still in Nebraska, getting ready for his first year there as esports coach, mentor. I think he's teaching a class, so amazing stuff going on with him. Want to start with, this is a great divisional round, but I want to start with our sponsor, betonline.ag. BetOnline remains your number one source for our sports betting needs this season. Everything from NFL playoffs to pro and college basketball, UFC, MMA, esports, and more. You always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable, BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use your promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline.ag, BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. And not much news going on. Listen, I know I think Mike Florio or the Pro Football Talk guy, or no, it wasn't him. Who was it? Oh, it was Schefter. Schefter came out and said, well, hey, both sides know their trade could be possible. Like, that guy is an absolute legend. He's broken some incredible stories. Recently, it seems like he does an incredible job of going on shows or anything and saying absolutely nothing except for common sense stuff. But maybe he's got a source in there that's telling him very specifically, hey, Aaron Rodgers knows he can be traded, and the Green Bay Packers do as well. Fantastic. Let's move on. This is a great weekend. Let's just go right to tape, guys, because there's so much stuff going on with these different teams. And as we look forward to next weekend now, after we see these games, some really, really interesting things are going to come out of not only the winners, but also the losers for these matchups. So let's start with the Chiefs-Jags. Chiefs won this game 27-20. This was actually a really close game until closer to the end. See if I can pop this in here. And I've already screwed it up. So I kind of look at this as Chiefs avoided the upset more than anything else. We saw the fumble down at the 6-yard line in the fourth quarter, and then Trevor Lawrence threw the pick at the end. But really, really good game. Doug Pease does such a good job with the young quarterback there in Trevor Lawrence. I think, the problem is, somebody was just asking me, is Trevor Lawrence going to be the face of the future? He's, obviously the first round pick last year and everything. The hard part is, and we'll see some of these guys on display now, but you look at the AFC and you think about, okay, Trevor Lawrence and Doug P are doing some great stuff over there. And clearly Doug's, has Super Bowl championships as a player and a coach. He's groomed some quarterbacks to win Super Bowl championships. Trevor's got all the talent. It looks like he's a great leader. I mean, there's just a lot going on there. He had a terrible first year under Urban Meyer, as far as not maybe terrible with his play, but terrible with the situation they were in. The AFC, when you look at talent at the quarterback position, and the quarterback drives these teams, especially in the AFC more than the NFC. I don't know how you get past now Joe Burrow / Patrick Mahomes at 1 and 2 or 1A, Josh Allen at number 3. I don't know how you get past all these guys to get to the promised land. They've got a good young team. I really like their edge rushers. I really like what they're doing. I like Travis Etienne. You just love some of their players, right? Bringing Brandon Sheriff in there at right guard was a huge windfall for this team. They're a couple players away. I show this one, and I show this. Frank Clark flattens the 72 here. 72's foot slips. They showed this play over and over and over because he got tripped. But look, your foot slips sometimes. You get in this position, man, it's a bad look. I've been there. I've done that. You trip him at the end. Hopefully they don't call it. Bloopers, man. This is the kind of stuff that they need to improve on. So it appears as if this is a play action pass. It looks like the left guard is looking at 50. And the center, while they're double teaming number 91, is taking a look at the middle linebacker 32. They get on a different page. Both bounce off and just give up this is an easy sack. So when you think about how to help your quarterback early in the game, this is not the answer, right? So it's okay to lose physical matchups. You never want to lose mentally. You never want to have an assignment bust. And clearly there, it looks like they had an assignment bust. Frank Clark here, he found the fountain of youth in this game. Had the last play, had a couple sacks, had this tackle for loss. But really, like how do you know a guy's back? So he ends up making this play, but check this out. He does the rock right before he does the rock bottom, jumps up and at it, right? You look at this play again, and they're starting a younger player here on Jacksonville. I believe this is Luke Fortner. So he was a third round draft pick of the 2022 draft. And what they tell you when you're coming out, this is offensive lineman 101, right? So you get out there and they go, okay, look, you're going to do this, 1,000, 2,000 to go on these screen plays and just kind of make it look like you're not going anywhere. So watch this guy. He kind of tiptoes out there and it's kind of like acting like da, 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 and then realizes like, oh shoot, man, I just got outflanked by the linebacker who's in coverage. He ends up making the play, and this is the one we just showed, but too funny, man. That's like every outside. If you've ever played offensive line, you've heard that in the meeting room. Like, I just kind of don't like let him know you're going too early. So it's almost like you see him kind of tiptoeing out there, like I'm not really going out here to make the play. Before you know, it's like, oh man, that guy's a better athlete than I am. He's out leveraged me. This is what I think that the Jaguars, if you just start talking about what maybe more they could have done, the Chiefs sat in a lot of too high, a lot of cover two, and basically just challenged Jacksonville to beat them down the middle, and they didn't really try. This is one of the plays that I thought they could have tried to capitalize on this, not only from a throw standpoint, maybe leading them into open space more instead into the safety, but just more along the lines of how many times can we challenge the middle of the field, maybe with 4 verticals and a skinny post or something, but a lot with that middle field open look, get some more plays in the middle, because although this isn't a play that connects, you see the opportunities because now you're pulling that safety away for the outside. We just didn't have a lot of that. You look at this next play, and if you're looking at it from Trevor Lawrence's standpoint, like he doesn't have anywhere to go with the ball right now. And he can throw some check down, sure, but this is touchdown area. You're trying to make some plays here. And you look at that middle of the field, and this was literally all day, it felt like, where these safeties are widening. Their middle linebacker isn't turning and running with anyone. He's playing the eyes of Trevor Lawrence. A lot of teams this weekend are playing the eyes of the quarterback, by the way, like more so than even the San Francisco 49ers sitting back playing the eyes of Dak Prescott. But we're playing eyes a lot of middle field open looks, and just not a lot of people going and attacking the middle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought it was a mistake they made in this game. And then you just see kind of some young stuff. This is one of Trevor Lawrence's. This is the interception. But you just look at when you bring an extra man, and the center and right guard are going to the linebacker. So this guy's a free runner. If you have a scat protection, which means the running back is going to release to the outside here, then very simply, like, you got to throw hot, right? And they bring everybody, and you've got 2 guys open. And these are quick plays. This is processing, right? But instead of going for it, throwing the pick, maybe not being ready for that play, it's just little things like that. And what we'll see is as you move forward in the NFL, you move forward in the divisional playoff rounds here, and specifically, I'm going to talk right now about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow makes that play right now 100 out of 100 times, and I think that's the difference right now in the AFC. Now, Chad Henne comes in. Patrick Mahomes high ankle sprain, and for anybody who's questioning whether or not he's going to play next week, I don't think there's any question he's going to play. He is going to be limited. We'll talk about that probably in depth on our Thursday show with him on. But just know that he will be able to play. He will be limited. That is going to affect the outcome of the game because Joe Burrow is a better pocket passer than Patrick Mahomes. You heard it here first. Chad Henne comes in. We're going to show this drive because this is really a demonstration of how good Andy Reid is and how good this offense is. What a great job the offensive line did, the running game, etc. We start off, so you're on the 1 yard line going out, and you got Travis Kelce inside slot on the 3x1, and they got 2 guys bracketing him. Like, they know you want to go to Travis. Chad Henne wants to go to Travis Kelce down here, right? You want to get this easy completion, but instead of doing anything dramatic, this is what Andy Reid does. When Travis Kelce says, I get open because Andy Reid gets me open, I have Andy Reid on my side, this is what he's talking about. Nothing fancy. Hey, take 2 steps and turn around. Get the ball. That's 5 yards. Fall forward. It's 5 yards. It's simple stuff with this guy. They don't overthink it. Andy Reid's not trying to do it. They've got a lot of trick plays. They got the snow globe play. They got all that stuff. But at the start and the end of this, they do a phenomenal job of just getting their players open. It could be they can be open on the line of scrimmage. They can be 5 yards downfield. They can be 50 yards downfield. They just get them open. You see a great run here. You'll notice that the safety came down. We're going to show this from the end zone. This is an offensive line thing. Mike Flanagan actually talked about this on the show last week. The center and the right guard understand that if that linebacker is shifted over inside of the defensive tackle over the center on his left shoulder, that somebody has to fill the B gap on the backside. That somebody's either going to be that defensive end crashing or the safety in the B gap. Either way, the safety has to come down. Like, they know that now. And why does that matter? Because that means everybody else has to move. And so if I know my defensive tackle is going to try to cross my face, I can now adjust for that. And when I adjust for that, like we do here, we get a great lane, 62, coming over for New England, has been a great player for the Kansas City Chiefs, really solidified their line. Gets up the linebacker fast. Pacheco's a hard runner, man. And it's just little plays like that. It's just the smarts, right? Creed Humphrey, those guys, smart players, well-coached players, understand you're just giving away information there for the Jacksonville Jaguars by not shifting late. Go across in motion. And this is, even with Chad Henne at quarterback, you've got a tight look over here with 9. Kelsey's hipped off. Kelsey's really not in a position to go backside here because he's too close to Wahle. But if you look on the left side of the line, 77, man on man. Center and left guard have a double team up to 23. Right guard and right tackle have a double team up to the other the linebacker over in the A gap. And Kelsey and 9, like this, the leverage points are very, very user friendly here for the offensive line. You really look at it from the center, or excuse me, from the right tackle over to the left of the right tackle. This is really 5-on-5 blocking. There's no man to account for Pacheco. Great job backside by Wahle, number 77, with his first step. Good cutoff. Hard cut by Pacheco. Downfield. Excellent, excellent, excellent job. So you got a bunch look up top. I think that's the play Chad Henne won the game for him 2 years ago on a 4th and 1. I think it was the sprint out, sprint right. Sprint right. What was it? Sprint right flood? What was it called? Sprint right. Yeah. Sprint right something. Sprint right option. Jeez, oh Pete. Let's look here at another running play. So this play should not exist. They do a great job. So 62 and 70 and Orlando Brown Jr. are going to fake a double team and let this guy go. They're not even going to block him. And the motion man is going to come across, receive this, and actually lose ground by 3 yards and still be able to make this play. Speed and athleticism. Not a great play, but just the idea that they even try that and not block the 3 technique. You usually not block the defensive end, but to not block the 3 technique, knowing that he's going to shoot out, the defensive end will read. If your tackle leaves, your defensive end will try to close down. This guy just shoots, doesn't even care about it. Unbelievable. They motion out. And what happens in these situations when you've got your backup quarterback in, your offensive line, hey, we need a little bit more out of you. Running back, we need to lean on the running game. Something like Pacheco just makes a play. I didn't know this dude ran a 4.39, by the way, but you see it here. Fantastic job by the tight end. Fantastic job by 83 motioning over. They're going to basically have a C block here with 77 Wahle on the defensive end up. And watch what he does. He sees this guy slamming in late. Boom. That right there makes the play. They have nowhere to go. It's just a car crash up here that Pacheco's got to navigate around. And that guy should come in and make the play. 83 does such a heads-up job of just stopping momentum and long enough that 37 can't make the play. Gets all the way down inside the 5-yard line. Now, this is another thing you just didn't see back in the day. The center, left guard, and left tackle are almost going to like pass set and let their guys go upfield. Right guard, right tackle, all the tight ends over on the other side are going to try to create this wall. You see these 2 lanes where basically the running back can just sidestep and try to beat one player, ends up not beating him, gets him down to the 1-yard line. Then, of course, we got a great pick play. You can pick within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage, and you can see, put this back out. I think it's just Smith-Schuster. Look at this one more time. He goes straight, makes a Valdez again. He makes a 90-degree turn so he can get his 1 yard easy pick, easy touchdown. Chad Henney comes in, nothing changes. Chiefs are really, really good. But the Bengals, for me, are too good. And this is a tough tape to watch because of the snow. By the way, it looked like, for my money, looked like the Buffalo Bills were on the road and they had no idea what cleats to wear. It looks like they were just very uncertain with their footwork, very uncertain with, like, they were almost on their toes the whole time. So this is the first drive for the Cincinnati Bengals. It just kind of shows you what kind of player really they're dealing with in Joe Burrow. So they've got trips right. They're just going to pick on the nickel corner. And if he steps out, they're just going to throw it to the inside slot. If he steps up, they're going to throw it to the slot. It's very, very simple play. Everybody does it. They're not trying to overthink things. Joe Burrow just makes a simple throw, keeps his guy clean, keeps his guy safe. They look at, you're looking at a team with three offensive linemen out of the starting lineup. Let's say, first off, let's just give some credit to let's give some credit first and foremost to their left tackle, who had, I think it was his first game, Jackson Carman, number 79. This guy, we'll highlight him a couple times. This guy played his ass off. I mean, he had a phenomenal day. Their whole team, the offensive line played well. There's conditions that are created by Joe Burrow and the skill positions that allow these guys to have a really advantageous series of positions to be in, and they executed well. Max Sharping, castaway from Houston, didn't work out for him at right or left guard in Houston last year. He's here playing at a pretty high level. Did a great job against Ed Oliver yesterday, who gave the Green Bay Packers, for anybody who doesn't remember, gave the Green Bay Packers fits at the guard position. But you look at this defense, you have 6 blockers and a running back, so 7 players plus Joe Burrow. They only have 6 in the box. I mean, when I talk about advantageous positions, they don't even block this right, and you're still getting up on the linebacker and being able to fall forward for 5. And that's what Joe Burrow. That's the power of Joe Burrow pre-snap. You don't have to do a ton of. They have these plays. They have motion plays. They have checks where they'll go into empty. They have the plays, but they can also sit back and he can go, oh, there's going to be 5 in the box right now. There's going to be 6 in the box right now. Or are you going to motion a safety into the box and motion the linebacker out? We'll take it. You see, they're just using leverage. They ended up stacking these receivers on the exit. We're just going to get one guy going to the post, one guy going to the corner. He's going to run like a sail 7. And he's got outside leverage on his defender already. You see the safety so far back, and he's still backpedaling. Never going to be able to make this break. Joe Burrow makes the easy plays look easy. Like that ball is I shouldn't say that's not an easy ball, but he makes all of these plays look easy. He doesn't have any fumble ups. Great little toss play. Look how far they can get before he even gets touched. Again, we're talking about that right guard coming in as a backup for Alex Kappa. Max Sharping just does a great job against Ed Oliver, who's their best run defender. And we know that these guys are missing Von Miller. We know that Jordan Phillips hasn't been healthy. He was back this week, but now you got a double team with your right tackle and your tight end. The other tight end can hip out. You got a double team backside. Max has to do his job here on a toss, and they have a great play. Safety can't get down there in time. He's got an easy 9-yard pickup. Great job. All the rest of those blocks are relatively, they have numbers this entire game. You look how far back those safeties are. They're worried about the power of these wide receivers. We got an empty look now. They've got everybody up. Joe Burrow's going to get pressured off the left side with a free runner. Doesn't even worry about the laces, just gets rid of the ball. Again, these are the plays. What's the difference between Joe Burrow and everybody else to me? He doesn't miss that play. He just doesn't miss it, especially in come playoff time. This play, as simple as it seems, right? He knows the guy's hot. Get rid of it. Ball's ugly. Ball's a duck. Gets right to where it needs to be on time. Guy turns around, turns it into a 7-yard gain, no problem. So they check. Everybody splits out. They go trips to the left. And it's not like the Bengals didn't create any pressure, but when they did create pressure, eyes go to the flat. Burrow looks for his guy who's open by 20 yards. Walks into the end zone. And this kind of player is now, we were talking about Jackson Carman earlier. So he passes off this TE, passes the guy down, gets his hand on the safety. That's a monster play. It seems like nothing. That is a monster play for him. We talked about, let me get the numbers right here so I don't mess this up. But I believe the Bengals ran for 172 yards, 5.1 yards per carry, 34 rushes. Okay. Offensive line's doing great. Absolutely. They motion across. Tremaine Edwards is now almost effectively out of the box. This is number 7. Number 7 is the nickelback. His name is Teron Johnson. I'm guessing he goes about 200 pounds, probably less. He is now the main second-level defender in the box play side. That is a huge problem when you're pulling 77. Easy run. Now, one thing that separates the Bengals right now, and again, this is why I think that so much of this team is every one of their guys is willing to do dirty work. Jamar Chase is a superstar. Higgins is a superstar. These guys go down. Crack on the defensive end. Pull around. And then Tremaine Edwards is in a bad situation here. But this is that guy again. Left tackle. Absolutely obliterates him. Skates. I can't tell you what a good feeling that is. As an offensive lineman, you get to hold somebody like that, throw him on the ground. To spring a play like that. Maybe one more here. They got a trips look. And they lead with that tight end who's just a little bit deeper off the hip than normal. This is where if you were to say, hey, the Bengals had a really good game up front, I would point to this play in particular. This is the hardest thing for an offensive line to do. And it's just essentially you have to single block guys on the line of scrimmage, including those 2 linebackers who one of them is an all-pro, the other one could be. But you have to single block all of them. You're booking the defensive end on the left side of the screen. You have a lead blocker just to kind of clean everything up. Bust out of the hole. 12, 15-yard game. Fantastic. Bills defense. Early in the game, Roger Saffold's a good player. I think they have a miscommunication here with the center. I think the center leaves probably too much space. But they get in there and just disrupt the quarterback. And this is what you see with Josh Allen recently. A lot of, the ball's on the ground a lot, obviously, but he's not making great reads. Here's one thing the Bengals did do that I thought was fantastic. The Bengals start with 8 in the box, and they're not rotating safeties as much. So basically what I mean by that is, as you see like the Buffalo Bills, if they're going across, or a lot of other teams, they're trying to motion these guys back and forth, trying to create different looks. You remember, it's like snowing outside. You can't see it on the field or on the screen, but it's really ugly outside. You're kind of disoriented. They're allowing everybody to play with eyes to the quarterback. And all the pressure that they're bringing, they're going to bring it from the box. So this doesn't look like anything particular. Like we showed earlier how if you leave that hole, then the offensive line knows that there's somebody there. The guy's up there already. So whether they're going to slant, whether he's going to come or not, like all of those things mean something different to Josh Allen contextually because he doesn't get a running start. So while you think he might not be hiding it as well, for us, it's actually harder to read. We just talked about the wide receivers for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now watch the Cincinnati Bengals DBs on the Buffalo wide receivers. Right past him, tackle for loss. Right? It's just a mentality that seems like these guys turn on with Lou Anarumo at the helm there. Really fantastic job. And just little things like this with Josh Allen, as good as he is, as good as he's been, he's an MVP candidate every year he's going to play. You run 4 verticals and a check down, and nobody's open, like throw the ball. Like this is what kind of happened. He feels like when you're watching this game, he's holding the ball longer than he should. The check down's open now. He's got 5 yards of distance, but you keep holding on to this ball too long, and finally you decide to get rid of it, And it's just, it can be a half a second, 1 second, but you get nothing out of it. And this is kind of what happened, I think, for the majority of the game with the Buffalo Bills. Eagles win big. I think it was 38-7. 38-7 versus the Giants. And what do you say about these guys? I mean, watch this play is ridiculous. So the Eagles are going to pull the right guard and right tackle, and they're going to essentially run a read off an option off of 55 or 57. It really is 57. I don't even think you're reading 55. You look at Jalen Hurts' eyes. And they're basically, we're not even going to block the defensive end, and he's going to run right across his face and just out leverage him with speed for a 15-yard gain. Unbelievable. Look at a couple different plays here. So this is a 3rd and 3 look. They go in motion. And we'll show this from the back of the end zone. Lane Johnson, we talked about this on our preview show. He's one of the best tackles in the league. And Lane Johnson sees 2 outside. 2 outside means that the inside of those outside guys are going to try to cut across his face. Because he knows that, he's prepared. He stops from getting across the face. When you stop somebody from getting to their gap, you create huge holes in the defense. That's what Lane does. That's why he's fist pumping right here. He's very excited, deservedly so. Now, the Eagles have been the quarterback sneak team in the National Football League this year. I didn't know Dallas Goedert was about this life, number 88, the tight end for the Eagles. So they run the fake and they pitch it out. Goddard here, I had no idea. I just had no idea he was about that life. We'll see this from the end zone. So they have done this great job. Everybody submarines. Jalen stays low. They get 6 and 88 to push. You see that 14's offset here already, but probably nobody even probably notices it because this is what they do every single time. It's a little bit of a head start and just lights that dude up. Their offense is fun to watch, man. They executed at a really, really high level. This is something that's different for offensive line coaches. A lot of these plays, this is plays all over the internet because Jason Kelce gets his snap hand inside on 71 and buries him. The other thing that happens here is Dickerson doesn't touch the left guard. He takes a longer route because the ball's coming across the quarterback's face and make sure not to touch 71 so that Kelce can push him outside. He can rise up on 54. 54 is going to try to backdoor this because of where the entry point for the running back is, and they end up popping it outside. Great little change up so they don't double team. He gets out of the way. 54 is going to try to backdoor, pops it outside. Literally exactly how you drew it up. Now you look at from a play action and pass standpoint, they've always got the linebackers in advantageous positions because you have to respect the run so much. They always are like pulling a guard or doing something from the play action standpoint where it's difficult to read what's going on. And now they had 2 high safety. The safety had to cut across on the under dig route. And so now you've got Malcolm Smith running against a safety into open space with nobody there, and the safety's backpedaling. And there's just literally no chance of him not making this play as long as Jalen Hurts puts the ball in an advantageous position. It's too much speed, too much space. You see the puller guard. He's got plenty of time to throw. Great pocket. You see, this is what we've seen all year from these guys. This really comes as no surprise. You go 2x2, 13 personnel. 13 personnel. They go play action. And again, because they go man and play action, everybody loses. They go man on the outside. Safety's reading the tight end, but he's starting 15 yards off the ball. And so if you make that kind of an out route or a sail route instead of a corner route, there's just no way. If you have a competent quarterback like Jalen Hurts, there's just no way you're not going to complete that pass. This is my favorite play that they always run. It's just a very old school RPO. Run it, bang, run like a little, not really an arrow route, almost like a little Texas route here with the tight end. And then the last game of the weekend, Niners really pull off what I would call a team win. 19-12. It speaks volumes about, I think, not only how good the Niners are, but the same things keep popping up with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's start with the Niners. Dallas Cowboys defense played really, really well. So DeMarcus Lawrence, this guy's like one of those underrated dudes I have seen this year. I've broken down 5 or 6 games for the Dallas Cowboys. And he's the guy that, I mean, I know Micah Parsons is the defensive, player of the year candidate and all this. Like, this is the guy that stands out for me every single time. Just dominates the line of scrimmage, dominates tackles, tight ends. Right here, Kyle Juszczyk. So we showed last week how great the Niners are at using Juszczyk and Kittle. So they take Kittle and they outside release him, and they just want to slam DeMarcus Lawrence with Juszczyk. DeMarcus Lawrence puts Juszczyk in the backfield and forces Christian McCaffrey to cut early. The Dallas Cowboys, for a large part of this game, were playing on the Niners side of the line of scrimmage. They did a phenomenal job attacking and being an attacking defense. I wanted to show this to Tyron Smith, who's going to be probably a Hall of Famer. Came back, he's playing right tackle now. Bosa's got this really great outside hand, 1, 2, 3. Tries to come inside and Bullers that inside hand, and Tyron Smith just goes, "No, I don't think so." I mean, that's good old fashioned man strength right there. Unbelievable. So what did the San Francisco 49ers said, okay, if you don't want us to if you don't think that George Kittle and Juszczyk are going to get the job done against our guys, then we'll just pull Big Trent Williams and our left guard. Like, we have something for you, right? We're going to keep running the same kind of stuff, same kind of, the blocking schemes don't change play side. It's just who's going to pull. Get a 9-yard pickup. And off of that, they run a play action where they pull the guard, the linebacker to bite. Kittle's got leverage on his defender. They were kind of like stick 9 look. First down. Great stuff. We'll go to the Cowboys side. This game was back and forth. That was Arizona, ended up in a punt. But you just kind of see the way both teams are thinking about the game. This is Bosa right here. So Bosa reads crack and actually steps outside the crack block, taking 2. And now Fred Warner just slips underneath his crack, makes the play at the line of scrimmage. These guys are ferocious, man. They're defensively are just next level. Dallas Cowboys came to play. Joe Philbin's a great line coach. This double team here is fantastic. Knocking the guy off the ball. I mean, this was a very, very well contested game. I mean, really, this comes down to Dak Prescott just didn't play as well as the rookie Brock Purdy. He had 2 turnovers, and that's why they lost. But this was an extremely, well fought football game. Really, really fun to watch. You see, we talk about playing on their side of the line of scrimmage. That's DeMarcus against Trent Williams, pushing him back, forcing George Kittle. Now, this play we saw last week with Christian McCaffrey for a huge run down the left side. Exact same scenario, except Deebo Samuel's in the backfield now. We're going to get Juszczyk trying to crack block the linebacker. But because of the penetration over here, there's just nowhere to go from the guard and the tackle position. We do get the crack, but everyone's down. They did such a good job, they being the Dallas Cowboys, of attacking the edges and really forcing the ball back inside, especially early in the game, the first half. You see more penetration on McGlinchey, takes poor footwork, being forced to down block here, not getting a lot of help from the right guard because they're in their 3-man, their bear look. So he has to go down and catch. Again, attacking the edges, getting penetration, stopping guys from making smooth runs. Now, Niners try to get him back into a position where they have to put 5 on the line of scrimmage, Van Der Esch being the outside guy. They have 8 in the box. It's actually a better run formation for the San Francisco 49ers because the angles are now better because they can get double teams at specific positions. So now we bring Juszczyk and Kittle around, but because we're getting that great double and Van Der Esch is on the end of the line of scrimmage, Kittle can block him all day. And then probably the play of the weekend from Purdy, probably his fifth read. Kittle makes a great play, makes it look pretty hard. And then I think we see another great double team here, getting blown off the ball 5 yards deep, number 97, turn the wrong way. This is kind of where the tide turns, I think, on this drive. This is the play of the game. Why? DeMarcus Lawrence gets a sack. There's great pressure all around from Parsons and company, but we get a holding call. George Kittle gets, I think it was 6, gets caught for a holding. They get a first down. A couple plays later, they pull Big Trent again. Different formation, same result. They're just going to double pull. 42 wants none of that. Not much you can do when Trent Williams is coming at you like that. This is a fantastic play, and everyone's going to talk about how Dak almost gave up a safety. And honestly, he would have given up a safety if Armstead was not at all worried about getting a flag or some nonsense penalty for roughing the passer. But watch the center. So this is a designed play by Dak. So they are dropping back, and now he is going to roll out to buy time, and watch what the center does to 97. I mean, just absolutely. And look, it's not like a tough guy player or anything. It's just kind of fun. You're offensive lineman, man. You like seeing guys getting free shots. And then right here, you just can't even, like, if I'm on the Dallas Cowboys sideline and I see that play, you got to ask yourself, like, what does Dak do? Like, you throw the ball away, right? There's no scenario. He should have took a safety there. I mean, but 9 times out of 10, he's getting safety there. It's like he didn't do anything magical here. He just got very, very lucky that Armstead didn't want to get a penalty. I thought this was a huge play. Goes to the sideline. And Dalton Schultz, I've been singing his praises all year. And the tight ends, all the tight ends, and their ability to make plays and kind of their effectiveness in the run and pass game. And to me, they're the glue of the Dallas Cowboys offense, to be honest. Doesn't get his foot in. Really, really surprising there. Didn't get his foot in. And so now, Dallas Cowboys, and, if you sum up the Dallas Cowboys season in one play, it's like, I don't know what we're doing here. It looks like, and I'm no expert, but it looks like, I think I'm going to take a shot here and say that these offensive linemen, they're not allowed to run until the ball's thrown. So you might think, well, why aren't they blocking for that guy? It's like they can't go anywhere until the ball's thrown, right? They have 3 yards or something, like 2.5 yards. So I just don't know. Not that they were going to score there, but that didn't, it seemed like you go, okay, maybe Kellen Moore's got something dialed up, and they've been working on this special play, and then that's when they pull out. I don't know. We're going to talk about this a lot with Amon when you get back on Thursday. Look, the bottom line is, what did you learn this weekend? I learned that Joe Burrow's, to me, the best quarterback in the National Football League. I think I've been saying that for a couple months now, actually, since last season, just what he's able to do with the resources that he has. He's the first guy, it breaks my heart, but he's the first guy that kind of shows you, like, you don't need an elite level offensive line. If you are that good at the quarterback position, you have that good of a receiver core, and Joe Mixon, all those guys are really good. Tight ends, elite level tight end. But you look at the rest of these teams and the things they can do in the run and the pass game. You look at specifically the Niners and the Eagles. They are just special. They're special up front. In the case of the Eagles, all 5 guys could be Pro Bowl players, if not all pros. If you look at the Niners, they got the best, Trent Williams is a Hall of Fame tackle. They got 4 other guys that are just pretty solid dudes, not elite by any means, but then they have just elite level tight end, fullback. And then they have, 2 guys, Debo and Christian McCaffrey, that can literally go play any position. Ayuk can do it all for the wide receiver position. All of them are not afraid to block and get their hands dirty. Purdy's playing at a high level. So you see what the capabilities are there. And then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their offensive line, particularly the interior of their offensive line now, is high level. with Creed Humphreys leading the way at the center position. Obviously, the elite level quarterback, probably the MVP this year, Patrick Mahomes. He's hurt. We'll talk about that later on Thursday. But Pacheco finding him in the middle of the season and what he's been able to do. They're going to have to go the distance against a good Bengals team. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's literally I see you have three teams that are kind of similar in the way that they approach the game. We're going to be creative. We're going to run and pass, and we're going to do all this stuff. And then you've got Joe Burrow, who is not as much motion, is not as much a lot of pre-snap adjustments, but he's going to make 99% of his decisions and know exactly what he's going to do before the ball snap. I think those other guys, to some extent, they can all do that, but he is next level elite when it comes to just pocket presence and playing within the confines and structure of the offense at the highest level. He has like a PhD in Zach Taylor's offense. Right. And I think other guys are really good at some things, and they might be better players than him in the big picture. Like Patrick, it's hard to argue that anybody's better than Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is so good at what he does in addition to pocket presence. And so it'd be interesting as he's injured now and all that discussion for a later time. Again, it's fun to always think about, when you look at your team and you look at Green Bay Packers, for example, and you look at these offenses and defenses and what they're doing and how like some things look so easy, especially when you go back and look at it in film, sticking with a concept or a theme for like a quarter or a half, and then just building everything off that, and then having an answer. For example, going with Kittle and Juszczyk, realizing that DeMarcus Lawrence isn't about that at all and is going to play on their side of the line of scrimmage. Understanding we're going to need double teams inside because our guys can't block their guys one-on-one. And so we're going to start pulling our big guys. We're going to get more double teams with right guard, right tackle, left guard, left tackle. Stop trying to single block. And we're going to use our size and now go downhill with a guy like Debo, a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Like, these are little adjustments that are made in the game. They're all in the playbook, but you just got to see what's going to work best for you in the moment. So interesting stuff. We'll be back on Thursday. Again, we're sponsored by Bet Online AG. Thank you for that. And Amon will be back from Nebraska. We'll have a lot to talk about.